Hello, Marcus Lim here with the Sandman, the Deluxe edition. Now this is book 3. So in previous videos I showed you book 1, right, first volume, and also book 2, right? So this is the third volume of the Deluxe edition. And so this one collects issues number 32 to number 50 of the original run of the Sandman. Right, so this is, roughly the halfway point, right, of the series, which consists of a total of 75 issues. Now this one, it has, issues 32 to 50. So that includes the 2 story arcs, Brief Lives, and also A Game of You, as well as a couple of short stories as well. Okay. So let's have a look at this. And let me first take the jacket off. Okay. So that's the jacket. And so here is a wraparound cover. Pretty nice. Okay. So here we go. Deluxe edition, book 3. Okay. Right, so it starts with Game of You, which runs from issue 32 to 37, I think. Okay. About 6 issues. 32 to 37, yeah. So this one is, it's a little bit unusual at first because what it is it is essentially a fantasy story, right, where Morpheus only appears very briefly. But really, what it is really about is a story about this girl called Barbie, right? And Barbie, she kind of has this, she kind of dreams up a fantastical world filled with whimsical creatures, right? And so a lot of the story kind of goes back and forth between the real world and that fantastical world. And then, along the way we've got characters like Tessely. So here's the fantastical world that she's dreamed up. And so she's got her companions like Tessely is one of them. We've got Wanda, we've got Hazel and Foxglove. Okay. And this really proves George, the face of George. So here it is. So they're getting into the fantasy world. Okay. And so what they're trying to do is to actually look for the cuckoo, right? And along the way, some of them unfortunately have died, like this one. Wilkinson, I think is his name. And it turns out that the twist is that the cuckoo is actually Barbie herself, or I should say a young version of Barbie, who apparently got abandoned when the real Barbie in the real world grew up, and so she kind of has been living in this sort of forgotten realm in dream world, right? And so so at the end, Morpheus turns up and to shut the door on this forgotten dream world. And so the story is sort of like an exploration, I'd say. I mean, it is first of all an adventure, but it is also a commentary on, the conflict between having to grow up and face reality versus the strength that comes from holding on to the unfettered imagination of youth. So that's innocence versus experience, you know, youth versus age, that kind of thing. There's also like this exploration of identity as well. So yeah, those are some very interesting, you know, things to ponder about from that story. And then we get to the next section, which is kind of like a series of 3 stories collectively called Convergence. So this first one is called The Hunt, right? The Hunt, in which the grandfather is telling her granddaughter about you know, a folktale, I guess, in a sense, about Vesely, a guy called Vesely, who is in search of the Duke's daughter, right? And along the way, like, you know, this is a story where there's werewolves and there's Baby Yaga and all sorts of very strange stuff. It's got a very Eastern European flavor to it. And a bit of a twist at the end where it's revealed that actually he might be the Vesely or the werewolf in the story. And then this next story is about Marco Polo, another short story, and this is one called Soft Places, which deals with it kind of plays with time in a very interesting way, because it's like a kind of like soft place where kind of like the real world and the dreaming world overlap. And so time itself is also flexible. And so Marco, he kind of like hears about tales that he'll one day undertake as well. So, you know, seeing the future. Also, quite an interesting one. And this is the last of the 3, which is, this one is called the Parliament of Rooks. So it's about the baby Daniel Ho, I think is his name. And, you know, kind of like left in the crib, and he sort of goes out and wander into the dream world, through the dream house, where he meets up with Cain and Abel and Cain and the Raven and also Eve, and each of them takes turns telling the stories, okay, and also a story of dream and death. Yeah, so that's basically. So, and then we get to the next big story arc, which runs from issue number 41, I think, to 49. A pretty long one, 9 issues. So this is Brief Lives, okay? And this pretty much is, it starts out having the head of Morpheus, which we'll come back to later. But essentially, this story, you can quite easily, if you want to describe it, right, is pretty much Delirium, one of the Endless siblings. She goes on a road trip with Morpheus, but Morpheus has to be first convinced to go on this road trip. And so yeah, here it is. So she's trying to convince him to go on the road trip. And the reason for them going on this road trip is to find one of their brothers. It's called Destruction, and Destruction apparently has been missing for 300 years. And so that's the reason why Delirium is so determined to go find Destruction. Okay. Now the problem is Destruction has kind of set a lot of traps to and along the way some of the associates perish in their quest to find him, which is a bit bad. But you know, at the end, what happens is they do find him. And he's decided to kind of live his life very simply. And yeah, he's decided to just, you know, live with his dog on an island. You know, he's forsaking his, I guess his position as one of the Endless, because he wants to be, I guess, mortal and that kind of thing. So that, in a way, that's why this story is called Brief Lives. It deals with the whole concept of mortality, death, and even change. And indeed, at the very end, after Morpheus and Delirium have found him, like destruction, find him, they sort of comment about how Dream has changed himself. Because what Dream later does is, so here's the head of Morpheus, who you saw in the beginning. He grants his son, Morpheus, his wish, which is he actually, I come back here, he actually kills his son, which is like an act of mercy actually. But we do see Morpheus grieving as well, right? So in a way, this signals the beginning of the end for the Sandman series. And indeed, at this point in time, we have actually crossed the halfway point. And in its final issues leading up to the end, 25 issues to go. So here's the last issue in the collection, which is this celebrated story, Ramadan, right? Gorgeously illustrated by Craig Russell, you can see. Right, the premise of this story is that the real Baghdad is actually a pale, a dreary imitation of a very copy of the real Baghdad that's being preserved in all its glory, right? In the bottle that Morpheus, in the bottle belonging to Morpheus. So that's that one. So finally we've got these covers, okay, which is nice. These are some bonuses, okay. So variant covers, I believe, for the issues. And here we got the Little Endless Parliament of Rooks from Sandman number 40. And the Endless Gallery, pretty cute, all members of the Endless. We've got Destiny there, I believe that's Delirium, there's Death, there's Morpheus himself, there's Despair, and Desire. Okay? Pretty cool. A few other things. Contributors note. Something about Ramadan. That's issue 50. I think this is the script. Pretty cool. And that is it for this deluxe edition book 3. Okay. So as I said, this is halfway point. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be like two more volumes, and that will be it. So I will be reviewing those when they do come out. But for now, right, it's a good time to pick up these books, right? I mean, these are presented in chronological order, right? Issue 1 all the way to the end, which some people prefer, right? Rather than having, in previous paperback collections, they had, pick and chose some of the issues, place them in like a short stories collection on its own. But some people just like it to be chronological. Is what these deluxe editions are doing. So I hope you enjoyed this very quick look at Sandman Deluxe Edition Book 3. Please like and subscribe. And I will see you in another video.